Okay, let's wait for this guy with the one-cylinder tractor to pass. Okay, so we tightened up the clutch cable because what was happening was I would pull in the clutch and there'd be a lot of resistance. I wouldn't be able to pull it in and I wouldn't be able to shift or find neutral. So that was kind of a pain in the ass. So then anyways, I drove it to the shop here and the guy, he adjusted the clutch cable a little bit and now, okay, I just gassed up. That also was a whole process in itself because getting gas here is very, very strict. You need to register with an ID, and a lot of places, even if you have ID, they just won't give you gas. So luckily, he was able to loan me his gas card, which is connected to his ID. So I was able to put gas in my bike, but it's definitely a whole process here. It's not as simple as just pulling into a gas station and getting gas. So now I've ordered 2 new clutch cables, one that's going to be replaced and one just to keep as a spare, and also a throttle cable. That should arrive hopefully in about 2 days because we're really out in the middle of nowhere here. I'm hoping, he said that it could be that the clutch plates themselves have worn in a way so that there's kind of like a groove in them so that when they lock together that it's not that easy for them to separate. He said that could be the issue as well. If that is the case, then I need to switch out the clutch plates. So what I'm going to do now is drive to our final destination, Jiangxigou, the village today. That's about 80 kilometers. And then see how it is. See if I still experience any of that. If not, then we know, okay, it was solved with the clutch cable. But if I still have that issue, then it means, okay, that I've got to get online and have some clutch plates sent over and have the whole thing replaced. But fingers crossed that we don't have to do that.
我先把那个卡给你。卡我先给你。 那我就骑到江西购，我看看这80公里有没有再出现这个问题。如果有，我就订那个离合片。
明天订的话也行。
好好，谢谢你了啊。
没事。
好，拜拜。好，拜拜。
We are passing that same mosque that I talked about earlier on the right here. Looks like we have some sort of Tibetan Buddhist shrine here on our left. It's quite intriguing to see how the different religions can coexist peacefully with each other in such a small place like this little town here. Anyways, we are now on the final stretch of our journey for today, and so far, this day has been exhausting to say the least, both physically and mentally. But the day is still far from over. On the positive side, the bike is still drivable, and it's better that these issues were discovered while in this part of Qinghai, which is relatively populated compared to some of the no man's land type places we are planning on going. Fingers crossed that the clutch plates don't need to be replaced and that we can continue our journey with just a quick clutch cable swap out. Now we are really starting to gain altitude. Crossing this mountain range, we should come very close to 4,000 meters at its highest point. And just on the other side of these mountains is Qinghai Lake, on the edge of which is where we will be staying tonight. It is the largest inland and saltwater lake in China and a place that is very sacred to the Tibetan people.
So, we've made it about 25% of the distance to get to Jiangxigou, and so far we haven't had any issues with the clutch. So, fingers crossed that adjusting the clutch cable was enough to fix it.
Riding along and seeing these ornate Tibetan Buddhist temples like the one we just saw back there, you immediately feel the strong connection these people have with their religion. Many of the houses you see along the roads may be made of clay or ordinary bricks and are generally very primitive, but when it comes to their temples, they go all out. I think we are going to take a little detour here and see what is at the top of that peak over there, as we are still good on time.
Okay, looks like we can't get up this hill. Not enough oxygen here. Let me back up and save it for another day. 太陡了，这个坡。
This is called trying not to dump yourself and all the gear down the hill.
give it a shot.
Wow, we are really on top of the world here. There's a unique serenity that comes with riding at high altitudes. The crisp mountain air, the unfiltered connection to nature. It's a moment of pure freedom and an escape from the hustle of everyday life. As you climb higher, the landscape becomes more surreal, the air thinner, and the challenge more intense. But with each ascent, the reward is the panoramic view of the Tibetan Plateau, a sight that words can't truly capture. Up ahead there, we are going to cross through the highest pass in this mountain range. With an altitude at the very top of 3,800 meters plus, it's covered with these bright colored Tibetan prayer flags as a way to provide safe passage to passerby. A lot of the trash that you see on the ground are actually small paper Tibetan prayer cards in which the people make a prayer and then cast them into the wind, thus effectuating the prayer. That down there is Qinghai Lake, or at least part of it, as it's absolutely massive, with it being around 105 kilometers long and 65 kilometers wide. Qinghai province actually derives its name from this large lake, with Qinghaihu meaning blue lake. To the Mongolians, it was known as Koko Nor and was formed around 2.5 million years ago. Not nearly as old as the dinosaurs, but still an incredible piece of history that we are still fortunate enough to witness today. Now we are finally over that mountain pass and entering the small town of Fengqing with Qinghai Lake directly in front of us. From here, we should only have around 20 kilometers left before we reach Jiangxigou. I'm super exhausted, but also really excited to both finish this day and also see my friend. So as promised, I said I would talk about the costs. So now for a cost breakdown of the trip thus far. The logistics cost to send the 150 kilogram bike from Guangdong to Xining cost $150, and that included the cost to pack it in a wooden crate and then ship it on a truck. The train from Shaoguan to Changsha cost $30, and the direct flight from Changsha to Xining cost $200, and that included luggage. Finally, the hotel room last night in Xining cost me $17, and this brings our initial starting cost to approximately $400, which I think is pretty good. Obviously, that does not factor in food and drink costs or fuel, but those really depend on the individual. Generally speaking, though, food and drink are quite cheap in this part of the world. And for the fuel, that depends very much on the bike that you drive and the route that you take. So here we are finally coming into the Tibetan village of Jiangxigou, which will be our final stop for the day. It's located at the foot of the mountain range that we crossed earlier. Most of the inhabitants here are ethnic Tibetans who survive from raising and selling livestock, the two main types being sheep and yaks. These are also two staple foods in their diets, so we should be having lots of both over the next couple of days. Also, I will state the obvious here by saying our clutch cable and clutch plates held up, a relief that we at least made it here, or we can try to sort it out over the next couple of days. That being said, adjusting the clutch cable helped, but the issue is still noticeable. Looks like our arrival time is going to be pushed back by all these sheep crossing the road here. But anyways, according to the GPS, we only have about 1 kilometer left before we arrive. Hello， 好久不见！哎呀。好久不见，好久不见！今天骑了，好久不见。
骑得累吧？
还好吧。
哎，这是。
这是你新的家吗？
就是不是，本来就是我家，就是。
是吗？我以为你家在那边。
不是。
是吗？这是在干什么的？
这是在剪羊毛。
嗯。
啊。
你好，你好。哦，就把他的腿绑起来，这样他不能跑。
不能跑，对。
哦，这样的。
So after about 6 hours on the road and multiple complications, I have finally arrived here at a friend's house in Jiangxigou. Unfortunately, the clutch plate and clutch cable problem is not totally solved. So we will see if we're gonna have to kind of play it by ear and see how it goes over the next couple of days. So I just unpacked all my stuff here, unloaded all the bag and everything off the bike, and now we're getting ready to have a little bit of dinner and then gonna call it an early night here. Try to rest up and see what we can find tomorrow. 这是他暑假的作业是吗？
应该是。
不开灯你看得清吗？
看得清。
可能你的眼睛还好，你看叔叔戴眼镜的，眼睛不好的。
是不是这里面没电？
不吃呀。
哎，谢谢。
放这应该很烫。
嗯，越烫越好。他那个是他藏文的教材是吧？
对，藏文的教材。
哎，那个可以看一下吗？这些字你都认识吗？这是讲什么故事？讲长城的故事。
对，这不是一个别人长城是怎么建设成的？
嗯，会念吗？
会。剧场呢？在拉空的建造。
在西藏是吧？
对。
藏文有多少个字母？
就这些根本炸到里边。
30是吧？哇，这些字儿是你写的吗？
对。
这个旁边是什么意思？
助词。
英语的教材呢？看看你的英语学了多少，学到哪里了？
全部学完了。
全部学完了。Come here, children. Look at the elephant. Wow, it has a long nose. 什么叫 long nose?
长长的鼻子。
哎，这个可以。It has a short tail. 什么叫 short tail?
短短的尾巴。
哎，这个可以啊。你也学这些吗？
他不是，他2年级，1年级、2年级没有英语。
2年级不学这些。
对。
那2年级学什么？
语文、数学。
羊粪特别能烧起来。
嗯。
羊粪烧得快，这个慢。
嗯，这挺好，很环保的，对吧？
没有啥什么污染的成分在里面。
等像这个牛粪它烧完了之后会变成什么样的？像灰是吧？那个灰怎么处理？
倒在一个坑里面，不平的时候你就往坑里面埋一埋。
这个牛粪是不是要先晒干？
对，他们
就捡完了之后是要晒干，还是说？
牛它那个拉完以后，太阳出来，它就自动能晒干，然后干了以后再捡回来烧了一下。
I'm already out of breath after going to take a piss up by the fence. 感觉有点缺氧了。刚才走这个距离就感觉有点呼吸不过来。
不用走那么远。
哦，好，谢谢。这个肉是牦牛是吧？
这是羊肉，前2天刚杀的羊。
嗯，就你们自己养的是吧？
对。
这个是盐是吧？
对，是盐。
嗯，这个课文是讲什么？讲猴子。
猴子偷桃。
看你的字写得很漂亮，应该是经常练吧？酱油啊，这是吧？
对，酱油。这个做饭特别香。
所以就像这种土豆啊、肉啊、面包啊、奶茶，真的是很符合我们外国人的口味。虽然我们的做法可能跟你们一样，但是那些食材基本上是一样的。回来了。
这是
馒头，可以啊。
我们这儿叫花卷。
然后这是刚加的是葱是吧？
对，那你直接多点点吧。
好。
这等啥肉的等你就弄的。
没吃过这个。
没有。
No。
对，我们叫 no。
会不会吃吗？
我这是什么？
这个是羊的肠子，
然后是放了盐是吧？
对，里面有面，然后有血。
这个就是它的肥肉是吧？
对，
这个也可以吃是吧？
这是肋骨这一块的。
这个怎么吃？切成片吗？
切片都行。
这个是辣椒粉是吧？
辣椒粉，这2个手指缝这样切。
嗯，然后它会切这种块。
这是它的哪个部位？
这是它这个棒里面的这些东西都是它内脏里面的那些
它吃的东西。
对那些肉，然后这里面的它是
用鞋和米做热的
这种你就可以蘸个料。
这个是怎么是你们是煮的还是熏的？
煮的，
就是用水
对，
加盐的水。
对对对。
这个汤也可以喝是吧？So I'm a little bit out of breath here, but anyways, they've set up this nice bed for me here. So we finished dinner a little while ago, then had some nice conversation. Now gonna call it a night. It's been a long 2 days, that's for sure.